Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, we are thrilled to be talking to one of our favorite casts, the team responsible for the hit show Harlem. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to the AAFCA members on the call today, starting with Christine Belfort in Tampa, Florida, Tamara Jackson in New Jersey, Derek Dunn, Washington, D.C., Nick Hamilton in Los Angeles, Karan Lenoir Kelly in Virginia, Nancy Green in Los Angeles, Dana Abercrombie in Los Angeles, Jill Monroe in LA, and Mercedes Springer in good old Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I will see you on the other side.
Ian with a new boo was not on my bingo card for this year.
That's Portia. She's literally like his sister.
What? She ain't kiss him like she his sister.
All right, first of all, let your friends know they don't gotta give me a death stare if I'm kissing someone.
He's a problem because the way he acts is a problem. You know what, Ian? Fuck you.
Girls with the attitude, girls from the
Since you're here, you should probably know I'm seeing Portia now.
Camille, wow, hi.
I mean, we're exclusive.
You tripping. Checkmate.
This is for the girls.
You're pretty incredible, Ty.
I mean, she's just so not annoying.
Are most people annoying?
Yes.
Y'all better not be talking about me.
I got the role in Girls Trip the Musical.
To the newest star on Broadway.
Really resonate.
You think so?
This whole look is Quinn Joseph, my new stylist.
Go best friend, that's my best friend.
Here's to us moving into a new era.
Arriba!
You're totally fine, and so is your baby.
Can I get some champagne? You have to figure out if you want to be a mom.
It's been a long time since a woman surprised me.
I'm not just any woman. I'm Quinn motherfucking Joseph.
It's like what I've been saying. Let go of the worry and good things will happen.
I know you trifling heifers were trying to leave without me.
Close the door.
You got an automatic door. It goes slow.
God damn, here we go. Let's go.
Dana Abercrombie, the coalition. My question is kind of for the cast, whomever wants to respond to this, this is the final season, the final goodbye. And what I wanted to know is, what message would you, as the actor playing that character, give your character for giving you these 3 seasons?
I would say I would thank Ty. I feel like I grew with Ty. I feel like I learned more about myself through playing Ty. And I would also thank Ty for her connection to sisterhood. I feel like it deepened my connection to my sisters and my friends, and also making friends and sisters out of my co-stars.
Yeah, I would say the same. I would thank Camille because she has taken me on a journey that has been life-changing where, you know, as Jerry said, I've grown, I've discovered things about myself, I've asked myself a lot of hard questions, I've cried, I've laughed, I've triumphed, I've lived, and all the things. And so my journey is very similar to Camille's, and we're one and the same. So I would just say thank you, Camille, for the past 5 years. You've made my life better.
I would have to agree. For me, and I think it's like a love letter already. Like we're like, we just want to thank, but it's true. Like, I think for me, I'd like to thank Quinn for giving me permission, right? It's like, there's something really inhibiting about playing a character who just lives life as it comes, lives in the present moment. I think a lot of times we live life, especially with social media and cameras in our face, you know, all the time. We're constantly like documenting life. Sometimes it's hard to be present and to also present to the world something that is true and authentic and real. And so when you follow these girls along their everyday life in Harlem, like you get every aspect of them, right? You don't get the filtered version. You don't get that version. What, kale? What is that, kale or greens? Like, you get all of their flawed moments, and I think that there's very few greater gifts than to live authentically as yourself. So I'd have to thank Quinn for the permission and the reminder to do that.
Yeah, I echo the ladies as well. I have nothing but immense gratitude for Angie. She has stretched my capacity to love others and sisters and friendships. I show up differently, and I love myself more vivaciously in playing her. I think that I heard someone say that you come out of the womb perfect. And as you go through life, you start conforming and putting on shells and putting on masks in order to be accepted. And someone who is as raw and authentic as Angie just helped me to really tap back into those beautiful pieces of me that make me unique, the parts of me that I was hiding. So she's given me so much self-acceptance, and she's given me music. I'm thankful for that too. I've always wanted to do it. And because of her, I have found my voice both in communication and in friendship, but also in song as well.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, I feel like I can really only echo the same thing. I mean, like Grace was saying, I guess this is a love letter. You know, what I would thank Ian for is you know, sometimes as a man, I'll forget that, you know, having the other side, you know, the softer side or the more vulnerable side to go along with the virility, or the, you know, the strength of the manliness. Sometimes I'll forget about that, you know, and watching Ian just love so deeply and really just be unapologetic with what it is he's chasing in life. Yeah, his passion and what we know a man should be chasing, but also the flip side. You know, he's unapologetic about wanting to be a father and having that space in his life and doing it with you know, the right woman. And you know, he goes through his own arc, but I feel like at the end, I watched him succeed in getting what he was chasing, regardless of, I don't know, what the world might think. So being able to watch it helps me touch back into it with my own reality. And again, I think having that juxtaposition or the full contrast of what a real man is a beautiful thing to watch. And you know, I thank him for giving me permission to live with that in my everyday life.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mercedes with She Critiques in Atlanta. One of the common themes that we've seen in every season of Harlem has been this idea and theme around fertility. And it's something that hasn't been discussed quite often as much as it has been in Harlem. So for my question is for Tracy. Why was it important for you to incorporate that theme in every season? And then for the characters who that theme kind of played a part in your storyline, how did you approach that dialogue in those serious but not so serious moments?
I guess I'll jump in. For me, I never went into the show saying I really want to discuss fertility. It was something that just kind of organically happened in the writers' room. Most of the writers in the room are women, and they're mostly Black. And the issue of fibroids came up, and just fertility and challenges and struggles with it was the initial approach. And then just even the decision of, do I even want children, was something that we had discussed, and we were kind of split on it. Some people were already mothers, some people were trying to figure it out, and we were getting to an age where you kind of had to know. And that's the thing about women in their 30s. You know, after 35, you kind of have to make a decision on it. Our biological clocks are a real thing, and it starts ticking in a way that it gives a lot of us anxiety and panic. And that's what I was experiencing real time in the room myself, and then also talking to other women. And then, yeah, I was like, we got to just put all of this anxiety and conversations and fibroids and other issues into the show, because if we're experiencing this, then that probably means a lot of other women are too. And I just hadn't really seen it with Black women for some reason. I hadn't had, like you were saying, I hadn't watched a lot of shows that kind of talked about it. And so it just felt like a unique thing for us to explore, but also deeply personal and authentic to our experiences as well.
Yeah, it was something, you know, when Tracy initially talk to all of us about it and asking, like, this is something that we want to explore. How do you guys feel about that? And Tracy and I have had conversations in the past, as I was on my fertility journey, and it's something that's so important because Black women don't talk about it a lot. And it's important to just have the conversation and to have the dialogue so that you can decide, and that you're not getting into a space where, or as Tracy said, you start to get to your late 30s, early 40s, where you may not have a decision if you're not proactive about making a decision beforehand, even if it's freezing eggs before you're ready to be a parent and having them, on ice for 7 years or whatever it may be. But the point is it's something that should be talked about a lot more. And that's one of the things I love about Harlem, is that we gonna talk about it, and then part of it is awareness, and going back to what we said earlier and Grace said earlier, it's a love letter by having these conversations amongst ourselves and making it normal in our community. It is us loving on each other and thinking about each other's futures and our hopes and dreams.
I also love that the writers added in that storyline for Ty, because when she's in the hospital, I think she thinks about for the first time the weight or the possibility of having children, and how just because she presents a certain way doesn't mean that she doesn't want to carry. And we see now more mass presenting women carrying, and it's like, just because this is how I identify externally, that doesn't have anything to do with my desire to be a mother. And so when Camille decides to freeze her eggs, and then Ty is like, okay, well, I guess I will too. I think it opened up a lot of conversations, because sometimes you might not want to carry, but you might want to have your child. And there's ways to do that when you put your eggs on reserve, and maybe if Ty found a partner that she wanted to conceive for her, right? Those things become possible because the conversation is being opened up. And so I was happy and felt honored from a queer perspective that we also got to have the conversation about fertility and having children, because queer people have children every day.
Thank you, everyone. I was just going to say, I love the new additions cast-wise, and I appreciate the conversation that you started with that laced with humor. So Harlem will be missed.
I'm Nancy Green with Film Critique. And my question is, well, first of all, I wanted to say the show is very Sex in the City in a lot of ways. I love that aspect about it. And I especially love like seeing Camille make some really bad bad choices. It was it was funny, it was cute, but I also thought that there were a lot of lessons in the choices that they were making. So like when you watch it, you can kind of reflect and say, oh, that's not something that you should be doing. Like, even if you know it, it's interesting to see that in characters. So I wanted to know for you, what are some of the lessons that you hope that audiences get from the show and the characters, and what are some lessons that you yourself have learned from your characters?
I was just gonna say that when you say bad decisions, instantly I remembered Quinn in season 1, where she left her purse in the club with that guy, right? Do you remember this? Everybody remembers that. When I was reading the script, I was like, who would do that? Like, really? Who would? That's the brilliance of Tracy Oliver and her team as well. Like, I think it's easier when we're not in those circumstances, or when we're looking at it from an outside point of view, to say like what you said, right? Like, that's a bad choice, right? That's bad. But what I love about it is that it's not about the thing more than it's about the overarching understanding of it, right? Like, I may never leave my bag in a club with a dude, but there are other things that I have done in my life that I've looked back and been like, in retrospect, that was an awful idea. Mm-hmm. When we have the safety to be able to explore those things, both on screen and like space to, what I say, fail forward. This is where we really get to control like the narrative of our own lives. And I know that like playing Quinn in that way and truly not judging her and finding the things that would allow her to live life so freely that mistakes happen. It also teaches me in my own life that, if I'm not doing everything perfectly and I'm failing forward, that belongs to me too. Our mistakes belong to us. They shape us, they help craft us, they help create us into being who we are always meant to be. And if our journey never had those quote unquote bad decisions or, those failures, I don't think that we would be as wise, as nuanced, as experienced as we become in life. And so I actually have learned to embrace not just the flaws that I play, but in my own life.
I think one of the things for me, one of the lessons that Camille learned that I understood because of my experience in life at that time, but I also learned from just the writing and walking it through with her, was that sometimes what you thought it was going to be can change, and that's okay. And not only is it okay, but sometimes what's coming next is better for you. And I really love the idea that Camille had this kind of like plan of like what her life was going to be, and and getting tenure and all these things. And when that was shifting, she was so out of whack, because she's like, well, what is this? What do I do with this now? Because it's always been this since I was 18 years old. And then now, in this new season, you see her not just accepting that, but actually saying, no, it's not about accepting. I'm actually choosing this because I'm in a different place in life, and I'm excited about what's going to come next and what it's going to look like. Even if it's not what I thought it was going to be, it's going to be this new thing. And so I really learned that from her, and that to me was a big part of her journey and my own.
And I think these characters help us to build empathy, right? It's like, I can't, one, I love that the writers didn't make it easy. And so when I'm looking at the script, and if Ty is doing something that Jerry wouldn't do, I have to dig down deep to find empathy in order to justify those decisions. And I think what it does is allow me in my real life to release perfectionism. Because when we say, oh my God, that was a bad decision, it's like, well, what would have been a better decision? I have to figure out why did this character choose this? And why did they think that this was the best thing for them in that time? And what did they learn from that? Because I think if we can fail hard more, we can get closer to the thing that we really want and who we really are.
That's good.
I love that.
Yes.
Sure. For me, what I learned the most from Angie is to really be cognizant of my motivations and intentional about the actions that I'm making when I've had a personal failure. There are moments when Angie has a failure in her career that she creates chaos in her romantic life or sexually. You see her dive into an Uber romance and call 50 Ubers to find one guy after the failure of finding out that they were making Get Out the musical and it wasn't this like huge movie role. Or they Get Out musical fails completely, and then all of a sudden she's pretending to be a twin. This is someone who is very sexually free, but those moments of creating chaos and distraction when you are emotionally torn somewhere else made me want to really pay attention to my own actions when I've had a blow. Like, okay, why do you suddenly want to call this person? Why are you suddenly wanting to eat this food? And it's just being mindful of that and trying to find better and more healthy ways to comfort. If it's coming from a powerful place and it's something that you just want to do in this moment, then it's fine. But if it's coming out of a place of pain and needing to run, then we need to examine it. So she made me really want to dive in and do some more inner work and figure out how to be more cognizant and intentional when I've suffered an emotional blow elsewhere.
And it's interesting how failure can teach you things. I know failure like the back of my hand. And I think in hindsight, when I look back at it, this idea of failure, because it's really just this false idea anyway. We're all just learning. There are really more lessons than anything. Like you ladies were saying, it really ends up shaping us. I used to always, I think it was called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's like one of those old school puppet movies. And they used to have all the broken toys in the movie.
The Misfits. I know what you're talking about.
They go to the land of misfit toys.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I was just like this misfit. Like, people were making me feel like a reject. I wanted to be, I wanted to be the karate man when I was a kid. And then nobody was going to tell me I wasn't going to the NFL. It was another thing I failed at. And then I moved out to LA and I really wanted to have like this personal training business. Didn't go my way. It was a failure at that. And then all of a sudden I really wanted to pour myself into this, this acting. I really wanted to be an artist as I started to discover more and fall more and more in love with it. And then even before I did it, people are looking at that like it's a failure before I even jump into it. And at 37, when I turn back and I look at it, it's like, it's really none of those things. We have like this beautiful, unique arc that makes us who we are. So it's nothing about being a failure. It's like, are you this? Are you that? Are you the heartthrob? Are you, and nigga, I am me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we'll bleep that part out. But I'm truly me. And I feel like again, to really bring it back to our North Star, Tracy Oliver and the rest of the writing team at Harlem really wrote this in such a unique way that helps us all learn from not just the ups, but also what people may, critique as the failures too. But it's really just a beautiful, each character is really just written in a fully human way. And I think it's beautiful. We can sit back and discuss all these different things. And at the end of the day, learn from it as we close the chapter on such a beautiful book.
Thank you guys so much. And it's a wonderful show. And Tracy, everyone, you guys have done such a fantastic job. So yeah, congratulations. I wish there were more seasons. I do.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Nick Hamilton. My question to each member of the cast is, what is one memorable moment that you will take with you from this series? And could we possibly get a movie out of this at some point?
Talk that talk, Nick. Talk that talk. Memorable moment for me happened off screen. It was, I believe, day one, and we were all together in the club for season one, and we prayed together. We all held hands and prayed over the production and prayed over each other. And I knew I was where I was supposed to be, because you can do what you love, but not necessarily have the most enjoyable time. When you could do what you love and also have an enjoyable time, but not connect spiritually with people. And so having a spiritual connection while also building friendship and also sharing creative space with people that you have admired forever. I realized how full this blessing was.
Gail, I would love to hear what your memorable moment was.
Who?
Gail, oh, sorry. You go.
My most memorable moment happened off screen. We were all in this room, and normally I just only see Jerry. Like, that's it, all season. And Megan was in there, Shanika was in there, Grace was in there, Jerry was in there, and Britt came in there. Everybody was coming in, and we were getting taken down. Me and Jerry were leaving for the day. I think it was my last day. We had wrapped, and I'm not sure if Megan and Shaniqua and the other girls were going into their day, but everybody was in there, and it was just a vibe, and everybody was doing a Jerry dance that she does. And Tyler was there. Everybody was there. It was just my first time being there with the whole cast, who I've watched y'all from season one. I've been a fan of the show. I love it. And it was like, oh, this is a family. Like, this is good. Oh, also Tyler was talking, and we work on another show together. I've never heard Tyler talk. So I was like,
don't give me a few drinks. I ain't gonna shut up.
like, we were really celebrating. It was such a beautiful moment. So that was my favorite memory.
Logan?
No, I'm a fan. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me things. I want to hear what's been. I echo what Gail said. Like, I'm watching this and literally listening to you guys right now in literal tears, because you're just, the way that you share and the family that you've built. I saw that immediately when I stepped onto that set, and I too was like, I'm in the right place. This was the first job I did post-pandemic, and it felt so warm. What you guys, I saw you guys rally against each other at many different moments. I loved being here. I really am a fan. I'm just like, what else are they gonna say? Please tell me things.
Logan about to make me cry.
Yeah, I forgot mine. Somebody else.
No, I mean I have mine, but I just don't know if I can say it because I'll be giving away, and y'all know what I'm going to say.
I
So
know what it is.
you know what it
No.
is. So I can't
Yeah.
say what it was. This is probably something that I'll say like after everything has aired. Otherwise, I'll give some away. But it was just a very very special moment between I can't even say. Anyway, it was one of those moments where um, you all realize that different life experiences really do inform, like you get that chance when it informs art in a beautiful way. And so there was like some really personal stuff that we were able to kind of incorporate into the season. And there was like one very specific moment. And I think that is something that I'll always take with me. I feel so bad because I kind of want to say what it is, but I can't. So we'll talk about it after everything has aired. But yeah, that would have been mine.
Yeah, I would say for me this season was actually spending time with our guest stars. Some of who, I mean, I'm such a fan of Logan's, of Gail's, of Kofi's, and then I got to spend time with Robin Givens. You are the Robin Givens. Like,
Truly.
what?
Jasmine Guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Jasmine is like my auntie, okay, at this point. But it's like not only are we a family as a cast, I feel like we invite in family, and there has not been an experience for me at least where somebody has been invited into our family that it just was not like everybody has been great energy, everybody has been so supportive, everybody has been so kind, everybody has been so good spirited, and so it just makes going to work so fun. And I remember Megan maybe 2 interview cycles ago, maybe a few years ago, saying like, when we do this work, we spend so much time on it. It's like, what do you want your quality of life to be? And so it's like, if you're working on something and we're doing 16-hour days for 3 months and you're miserable out of your mind, that's 16 hours a day for 3 months. And so the fact that we get to spend all this time together and enjoy it and be doing such amazing work to me is just a blessing, the ultimate blessing.
Yeah. I can't say that there's one moment because there's just too many. It could be, first season, me and Shaniqua testing together and meeting each other for the first time and realizing that we had met on FaceTime, years prior and touched and agreed that we were going to do a show together and realizing that moment was happening and praying for each other and crying in the bathroom. It could be, getting the job and realizing that I could still surprise people and that I'm at the beginning of my journey in so many ways, even though there's so much behind it. It could be getting people like Kofi to come on and be a part of the show and people showing up without even asking questions. They're like, yes, I'm gonna come play with you guys. It could be so many different things because there's just too much to say. But this show is full of wonderful, wonderful moments that we will never forget for the rest of our lives. And I can honestly say this is the best experience I've ever had on any set, any experience. And I often say I've been doing this 30 something years plus, but I say that in this sentence so that people can understand when you've been doing it that long, and this is the best experience I've ever had. Because y'all.
I think for me, real quick, without giving it away, because yeah, I can't say what scene we were in, but I remember we were all in a big scene at some point over the last 5 years, and Miss Whoopi Goldberg, uh, she was there as well, and she I don't know if she made a toast, but at some point she was speaking in front of everybody, and between what she said to us all and what she said to me, in private, the message was the same, and it was about you don't get to the top of this mountain. Um, and by putting anybody else down. Like what it was that she was highlighting was just how to treat everybody on set and how to love everybody on set. She was talking about the cameraman, she was talking about the PAs and just the crew, as well as the cast. And just for someone that I look up to so much, to be able to soak up game from a great like that. I mean, she got an EGOT, for crying out loud. It's someone who got an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. So to be able to be at the top of the mountain and still, remember what that first step was like, and hold on to it and embody it at every step of your career. And then to go ahead and turn around and share it with us. It was just such a beautiful moment. And she didn't have to do that. So I thought that was one of my, it was one of my favorite moments on set. It was great.
Well, thank you all for sharing, each and every one of you. Congratulations on this series. And I'm looking forward to that movie whenever it drops.
Hey.
We need everyone to activate the petition.
Hello, my name is Karan Lenoir Kelly. I'm with Karanism.com and love music pleasure. And first, I want to say thank you to Megan, to Grace, to Jerry, to Shaniqua for these seasons that have been really life affirming for so many of us Black women. But my question is for Gail, for Logan, for Tyler, and hey, Kofi. And this is the final season, and we've seen these characters evolve, not just in their lives, but also in their loves. But it didn't just affect the core group, it affected the ones that they loved as well. And their love journeys matter. The evolution of this sisterhood, I want to know how the brothers and the others felt evolved in their characters moving through this process with this core group.
Harlem was like the safe space I needed at the time, to what Logan was saying. It was fresh out of COVID. And just Seth being when I first was introduced to the character, I was like, oh yeah, I see myself in him. I see myself in him. I kept reading. I was like, wait, hold up. So it challenged me to really reflect and look at myself, and just the duality of being successful but also still remaining vulnerable and still being willing to put yourself out there, and to be able to claim what you want, say what you want, and put your heart on the table like that. I feel like that's something I started losing a little bit, to be honest. Like, you get a little jaded once you sometimes experience abundance, and experience the blessing, and then it's easy to shy away from your heart, from what got you there. So I think Seth was definitely just a pathway back to myself, just a connection, an access point, if I would. And of course, playing opposite of Grace, like, I mean, wow, what an amazing mirror, So just seeing how light she was, and how disciplined she was, and how willing she was, and how charming she was, and how everything she was, is like, that was the mirror I needed. That was the space I needed. So Seth definitely challenged me. There was areas where I wanted to judge him. I was judging him. And it made me say, like, hold up, like, I just had to go a little deeper and like kind of unravel those layers. So it was amazing exercise, and just a wonderful opportunity.
And I'm just gonna talk about Kofi for a second here too.
All right.
No, truly, because Kofi was a deeply gracious partner. And like Tracy, I mean, I can't give specifics, but you remember there was a moment where like Kofi was discussing an aspect of his character. He really took this seriously, and he really leaned into the authenticity of what Jerry said, right? The empathy. He was able to kind of use that empathy to say, okay, like, this is the type of person who would be in this circumstance. And so in order to keep it real and to keep it honest, we have to think about these aspects. And because of that, I believe that he was able to shape Seth in such a way that you'll have to see it in order to understand and really get what it is that we're saying. But Kofi was spectacular, and we're really grateful to have had him on for this season, all of you guys.
For me, Jerry, my girl. I love her down. Like, I say it often. I am a huge fan of Harlem. Like, you guys do a phenomenal job. But Jerry, I knew outside of the show, and watching the girls evolve, all the storylines evolve in their paths, seeing Ty go on this journey, it was so beautiful to even enter her life. And it was a lifestyle that I wasn't aware of, because this is a different storyline for me in personal and in professional. It was my first time. So she was so like, she made me feel comfortable. She made me feel welcome. She was okay with me asking questions. And it was just so beautiful, because Eva was also in a space where she never crossed like personal, professional boundaries. So I got to naturally ebb and flow with the character. It was so genuine. And I'm honored that it was Harlem. I'm honored that it was Jerry. And it was just truly one thing that I will never forget, like the experience, the beauty, the joy of exploring with Jerry, with Harlem. So the path was one that I think I needed, and I'm grateful for it. I think Gail may have taken more from this experience than Eva, even though, don't worry, Eva got quite the experience. She got quite a lot out of it, but I can't get that away. But I think we both won. So it was a nice, beautiful path.
And I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this, but I have to say to what Tyler said about what Whoopi said about the industry, Gail truly is a walking embodiment of that. Seeing her at events before we work together, becoming friends, and she is like a safe space, truly. And she that grace translates to set. She's serious about her craft. She don't play about it. And so the fact that we were able to collaborate on these characters and have their relationship unfold and unravel in such an authentic way as we were deepening our friendship as well was just so beautiful. And I would not have wanted to end this show with another person. Like, that was just, I feel so grateful that I got to work with her. And I love all of her work. I mean, we're a Gail Stan over here, okay? And so to see her in something different and to be alongside her as she's showing this different part of Gail was just a blessing.
It was so vulnerable. It was so vulnerable. Thank you.
You ate that up.
I've been such a fan of all of you ladies individually, but then the show it's such a necessary show. I'm like all of the fans in the comments who are like, it's all that anyone can focus on, right? But it is, I mean, being here, I feel like I wish fans could see this, because it's such a treat, because you really see the life that you've built and the life that will continue on. Coming in, I felt almost guilty, because I'm a fan of the show and a fan of the relationships, and I was like, oh no, I'm intervening in Ian and Camille, like, oh my God, like this isn't good, like bad. But so then I went, but how fun. Let me give these characters a real challenge and be this kind of like bump in the road. Are they gonna, what's they're like, y'all separated, so what's up? Portia's in the building, you know what I'm like, here. So I loved that. I loved getting to insert myself into a situation that I was watching. It was a little different from the other relationships that were in the show, because they were these like budding romances, but I was like a thorn stuck in this rose. And that was fun. And I loved working with Megan and Tyler. Like, they're so generous, they're so fun, they're so light. It doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you're showing up to hang out with some buds. And honestly, I told Megan this. I pulled her aside, because I've known Megan for a long time, but I've also obviously watched her for a long time. And she is an incredible comedian. Like, watching what you do, how you improv, the different things you find. I watch your face. it was a lesson for me. I really feel like what the gift for me was watching, truly. It was, yeah, you're right. I'm just rambling, but so I appreciate being invited into this space.
I just want to say something. As Logan said, we've known each other for years, and I was so excited when I knew it was going to be you, because I absolutely love you as a person and as a human being, but as a talent, I think you're brilliant. The first time I ever directed anything in my entire life, Logan was my leading lady for the music video that I directed, and she said yes and just didn't even question it. So I was really excited when it was going to be you. I was like, she gonna steal my man. I love it. And then I was like, yeah. But yeah, so I'm just happy that we got to do this together as well, because I love your heart.
Likewise.
And I have to just jump in real quick and say I was blown away by your performance, Logan. For real. I told anyone who would listen when you got on set, like I wasn't really you never know what to expect when someone comes on set. You know, are they gonna be I mean, who knows? They're gonna be this way, that way. You know, a lot of times you may see them from a genre that's different than the one they're stepping into. So you kind of just keep an open mind, don't really know what to expect. But man, when you had showed up and you were so on point, A, with the black and white of the script, but also just in the gray area of in terms of like your heart and what you're actually, bringing to the scene off of the script. And it was crazy. You know, we talk about having these, these feelings go from set to offset and stuff like that. And even as I stepped back out with Tyler, I'm like, oh wow, like I don't know, he might not end up with Camille. You know what I'm saying? They got a nice little thing going on. So it was just a beautiful. It really was. It's such a beautiful arc that A, Tracy wrote, but B, that you were able to just nail, man. You just stuck the landing. And I just want to say from artist to artist, man, my hat's off to you. And you really killed that role.
It's so true. I know we have to go, but I just have to say this. You know, some people will be like, yes, all of you were wonderful. All of you were wonderful. Like each of you guys had your, like, I'm telling you, throughout the entire season, but also for each of you, you guys had that like one scene that like, you couldn't tell me that y'all were not like series regulars living in this world. Like y'all were incredible. And I mean that for each and every person, Gail, Logan, Kofi, like to each your own, like you guys were just sensational. Like I have to second Tyler on that with Logan and everybody else, because you guys were like so good. I mean, really, really, really.
Well, I want to thank all of you for just a brilliant series. And Tracy, I want to thank you for showing us a different vision of not just friendship, but sisterhood and evolution of love as we get older. Well, I'm getting younger. I don't know about y'all, but thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We sincerely wish that we had time for the rest of our panel to speak to you wonderful people, but you have a busy day and we're just part of it. So, we love the show. Some of you I know well, some of you I don't, but we certainly, on behalf of the African American Film Critics Association, the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, we are here for you and will continue to support you in your future projects. So have a great day and get some rest after today, because I know it's going to be a busy one.